So I was getting ready to go out to an evening with friends one night, and like when you're going out and you know you're gonna see a bunch of people, you think quite a bit about what you're wearing, right? So I go into my closet, I search, I can't find the right thing. I put something on, I try, I stand in front of the mirror, I start to cry. I didn't want to stand in front of that mirror for a second longer. I I I couldn't put into words then, and I can't put into words now what I felt in that moment. But it was that I was looking at me and not seeing me. And I was so shaken, I didn't go out that night. Jace, I'm transgender. I was born a girl, but always knew that I was a boy. And so a few years ago, I transitioned and am living very peacefully and authentically today as a man.
When it comes to gender, you have a broad spectrum. It's on a continuum. I suppose if you had to go from one extreme to the other extreme, female, male, and you have an unlimited number of points in between. So it varies from individual to individual. Some folks are transgender and they identify as female and don't really have a desire to change their body through hormones or surgery. When you transition physically and you do it through hormones and surgery, that's a transsexual. Now, many trans people don't like to refer to themselves as transsexual. They want to leave the sexual out of it because, well, sex right away, who knows, people's imaginations. Gender is from the neck up, it's what's up here. All the rest is sex down below. One doesn't define the other.
First is identity is what I tell you it is, right? Like, I tell you I'm transgender and you have no reason and should not question that. And I get to say who I am and who I know myself to be, no matter how I look, right? If I hadn't had top surgery or hadn't had hormones, and always honor people's choices in that, right? So if I say, please use male pronouns, he, him, and his for me, right? You're gonna do your best to do that. I trust that you will. And when you mess up, because certainly everyone's gonna mess up, particularly as people are early on in their transition, don't fall on the sword and just fall over yourself. It's kind of like, oops, sorry, and get it right next time, right? I don't want to spend my time trying to make you feel better. We should all get over it, and you should do better the next time. The other piece is making sure that there's no question you ask a transgender person that you wouldn't feel comfortable answering yourself. And at the end of the day, what determines who someone is and their identity is what, right, I'm telling you right now.
Not cool to out a trans person, like ever. Never, never, ever can you out a trans person.
Transvestite is a no-no. Tranny is a no-no. He, she male. I guess the latest one now is called a shim. When you deal with a trans person and you're not sure whether they're identifying as male or female, it's always a good thing. Well, do you have a preferred pronoun?
I think it's important that when we think about trans people, we don't spend all of our time thinking, hey, has he had the surgery or surgeries? But instead, like, how is he living now? How is he walking through the world? And when our conversations focus on people's bodies, we miss the whole lived experience. And if you're not willing to talk to me about what's in your pants, you shouldn't ask me about what's in mine.
So the common misperception is that we're gay. When you're talking gay and transgender, male, female, gender and sexual orientation are two different universes. We may or may not be gay. I know some are heterosexual, so that's a misconception. We're hookers. We're cuckoo. Well, I assure you we're not cuckoo. doctors, we're lawyers, we're airline pilots, the whole spectrum. It's all about the sex. It's not about the sex.
He's still the same person. Like, he still has the same soul. He's still the same in so many ways, in most of the ways, really. I mean, facial hair and less hair and a top surgery later, but everything, I mean, like, he's the same. Like, he's the same person. And
Before I transitioned, I had become terrified of mirrors. I couldn't look at myself. I was absolutely horrified looking at myself, and this was completely resolved. These are the things which have changed and made me feel what I am. They are the external manifestations that balance.
At the end of the day, when you look at me, I know you're going to see a trans person, but I also want you to see a person.
There's a number of good books out there. All you have to do is Google them or go on Amazon and just put transgender out there and it will all come back. There's a book by James Rudisil, and she wrote an excellent book called The Riddle of Gender, and I would highly recommend reading that. She's Not There is another one. The author is Jennifer Finney Boylan. Another good source is the National Center for Transgender Equality, and you will see all the issues that they're involved in. They're a powerhouse, and they are based in Washington, D.C., and they do the heavy lifting with the lobbying and everything else. And it will also show you what kind of challenges we face as a community.